Hey, how are you? Welcome to the third video of our 5-part video series. Today we're going to talk about two things that sabotage our mental health on a daily basis, and that is our addiction to being busy and also fear. Mental health is such a huge part of getting our physical health right too, and so much so that I've devoted half of the focus inside Empowered Women's Health on the topic of mental health. The healing program in there I've called the gut-brain healing system, because in order to improve our health, no matter what the problem is, we need to address both our physical body and our mental and emotional health at the same time. This is crucial. Now, just to let you know, Empowered Women's Health is opening its doors to you this Friday, the 8th of August. And what we're going to talk about in this video is very much the kind of help you'll get if you become a member of Empowered Women's Health. So more on that later. Now let's get right into it. So how many times have you been asked the question, how are you? And your reply is, oh, busy. In today's world, almost everyone is busy. Busy is like the new status quo. It has become almost like competition, in which being competitively busy means we are also obsessed with what we haven't done. But even if you love what you do, doing too much of anything without regular breaks can cause stress hormone levels to become and remain high. And this is setting us up for a host of health concerns. We've all heard about people working themselves to death in stressful jobs, and we warn people that being too busy can cause serious health problems, including anxiety, depression, headaches, insomnia, heart attacks, and just about everything in between. And when we are too busy, we don't exercise enough, eat nutritious food, or get enough sleep, and this fosters a vicious cycle of being too busy to be healthy. The less we're able to care for ourselves in healthy ways, the worse we feel. The worse we feel, the less productive we are, therefore increasing the amount of time it takes to accomplish like anything that we need to do. So why do so many people, women in particular actually, continue to burn the candle at both ends, busying themselves to the point of exhaustion and worse? Because busy is an addiction. Being busy is an addiction, and it can be as challenging to stop as other addictions such as alcohol or shopping even, or working, because it is a way to escape and numb ourselves. But unlike other addictions, Western society puts a high value on being busy. We're conditioned to believe that being busy equates to being good, worthy, or successful. In addition, so much of our busyness is determined by how we are conditioned. For example, if your parents worked long hours during the week and then did endless jobs after they got home, then you may have been conditioned at an early age to believe that these patterns are what you need to follow as well. And if this sounds familiar, the more you do, the better you probably feel about yourself. When you're not busy, you may feel being perceived as lazy or a failure. And resting may make you feel guilty. But for most of us, as we get older, the demands we continue to place on ourselves are not in line with our changing values and needs, such as taking time to make healthy food and walking in nature, or spending quality time with family or friends. And while the toll that busyness takes on us is high, the challenge is most of us don't know how to stop being so busy. So here are some tips for learning how to relax and create a little bit more balance in your life. So stop saying, I am so busy. When we repeatedly say we're busy, we set ourselves up for being unable to slow down. And as Gandhi said, your words become your actions become your habits. So break the habit of saying you are busy, and by the same token, stop taking on everything else asked of you. So when someone asks you to do something, take a breath and listen to your inner voice. Is it necessary for you to take on what is being asked of you, or are you able to kindly but firmly say no without making up excuses or playing the busy card? So assess if the thing you do on a daily basis are relevant anymore. So do you really need to do these things, or is it just a habit? I mean, yes, there's heaps of things that you need to do, but are some a little bit redundant? And learn to say no for the sake of your sanity. Make a list on perhaps the most productive things you could be doing and prioritize. To-do lists are just never-ending stresses. What things are going to give you the big wins? Go for them. What is most important, and that if you did this today, you would feel so much better about things. So you can just kind of think about things in a different way. And also play and have fun. You've heard the saying, laughter is the best medicine. Including more fun into your daily life can improve your health. But when people become overly stressed, they tend to give up on the things that they enjoy. And play is both an important source of relaxation and also stimulation in the mind and to get creative. There is science that shows laughter and having fun and engaging in some kind of play can really relieve stress and increase brain function and creativity. And it also improves your relationships. So making time for fun in your life will actually improve your ability to accomplish your work and your jobs more efficiently so that you become less busy. So you can see how it all links. Plus, having fun keeps you feeling young and vibrant. George Bernard Shaw said, "We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing." So another thing you can do is get better quality sleep. You don't necessarily need more hours unless you truly aren't getting enough, but most of us could use better quality sleep. You could create a before sleep ritual at night. So instead of like a lot of us do, we slump in front of the TV every night mindlessly watching yet another reality TV show. You could go and do something good for yourself. Run an Epsom salt bath, do some gentle stretching on the floor or yoga. Write in a journal to dump all those racing thoughts down on paper instead of them running through your mind at night when you're trying to sleep. Learn to self-praise. So don't wait for anyone else to give you praise. A big part of breaking the busy cycle is allowing ourselves to feel success or completion. And when we practice acknowledging ourselves in this way, we're able to move away from the thoughts and feelings of there is too much to do, I will never get it all done, and towards knowing that I am enough. So acknowledge your accomplishments along the way regularly, and your feelings of unworthiness will melt away. You can do this by placing your hands over your heart, just like that, and offering yourself some praise. It's these little acts that we do for ourselves which will help us give us a greater sense of well-being. Now, speaking of the number one emotion that affects our mental health, and that is fear. Often fears can be inherited from our parents and their parents before them. It's well documented that babies can take on fear of their mothers even in the womb. Excuse me. Amazing, right? You may not realize it, but you were probably taught to be afraid of just about everything. You learn to be afraid of growing older, gaining weight, and being alone. You were taught to fear contracting viruses such as the flu or shingles, and of course most of us are taught to fear death. Living in fear makes no real sense though, and on a purely physical level, fear lowers your vibration and actually makes you far more susceptible to viruses that you fear you may catch. And on the other hand, a growing body of research also shows that having faith can help you stay well and thrive. Of course, the best part of faith, whatever religion you are, whatever beliefs you hold, it doesn't require a prescription. It can just be faith in yourself. So why is fear so damaging to our health? Well, the biochemical state that fear creates in your body adversely affects your immunity and increases your susceptibility to viruses and bacteria that are all around us. So for example, most people have the bacterium that causes pneumonia in their respiratory system at all times, but it stays in check until your vibration is lowered in some way. Isn't that amazing? Here's how fear lowers your immunity. It shuts down our gut. So when you experience fear, your body releases stress hormones that slow or shut down bodily functions that you do not immediately need for survival. And this includes your gut, where most of your immune system lives. So fear short circuits our brain. The flow of stress hormones create like an overactive mind state by flooding the brain, and this makes us more unable to think rationally. So when this is in its overactive state, your brain perceives events as negative, and it stores all of the details surrounding the perceived danger. So it's incredible, including things like sights and sounds or odor or the time of day, the weather and so on. Your brain remembers all this and the negative memories. And later those same sights, sounds and other details can trigger fear by bringing back the initial memory, or in some cases you may feel afraid without consciously knowing why. This can lead to a constant state of fear and anxiety, or even PTSD. So fear can also impair formation of long-term memories and cause damage to certain parts of our brain. Finally, fear can interrupt processes in our brain that allow us to regulate emotions. Fear can lead to chronic health problems also. So living in a constant state of fear can cause gastrointestinal issues, including ulcers, irritable bowel syndrome or IBS, and it can increase your risk of cardiovascular damage. Fear has been associated with decreased fertility too, depression and fatigue, and also just accelerated aging. Fear's also been associated with increased risk of death. You've heard sayings such as she's worried herself to death. And finally, fear attracts what you fear most. All emotions are energy, including fear. And when you let fear run your life, you attract to you more of what it isn't that you're afraid of. If you're afraid of illness, you'll attract it. And if you're afraid of being alone, you will be alone for as long as it takes to get over that fear. If you're afraid to die, you will never live fully and joyfully. And the best thing to do to throw away a lot of your useless fears is to recognize them and be conscious of them when they pop up in your negative self-talk. We all have it. So talk to your fear and say, I hear you, but I'm going to do it anyway. As they say, our fear doesn't know our plans. And breathe, long, slow breaths to calm your stress hormones. Whenever you notice an old fear popping up, literally breathe away your fear. Another thing you can do is try tapping. So fear sets up an electromagnetic field that attracts the things you fear most. And tapping, or they call it emotional freedom technique, it assists in removing neuromuscular tension in the body that is being held in place by fear, both like conscious and unconscious. And as a result, tapping helps to remove fear from our bodies, and in the process it lowers stress hormones. And tapping can help you deal with way more than fear. And finally, focus on the big picture. This requires love and patience. The way to loosen up your grip on anything is to realize that none of it really belongs to us. So I hope this has really helped you today. If there's one thing that keeps cropping up in women's health, it's the addiction we have to busyness and just how chronic our fears can get, which makes life very unhappy and lacking joy. And life is meant to be joyful. If you have any questions surrounding this, or general questions or feedback around mental health, anxiety, depression, or anything else, please just put them in the comments underneath this video. I'd love to hear from you. In the next video, we'll chat about weight gain and your thyroid. This is a big one, so stay tuned for this one tomorrow. See you later.